This week in Jamaica Now.
Don't give up certainty for uncertainty.
Why did the Prime Minister say it's not wise to vote the PNP into government? Horrific Westmoreland crash claims 4 lives. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck wants a mandatory minimum prison sentence of 20 years for child killers.
This bill, I'm urging Minister Williams, should send that signal.
And the government is facing criticism for returning the latest group of Haitians to arrive in Jamaica. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. The political temperature in Jamaica is rising as the ruling Jamaica Labour Party gets closer to its national conference in November and the country inches closer to the February deadline for the local government elections. Prime Minister and leader of the ruling Jamaica Labour Party JLP, Andrew Holness, has told Jamaicans that it would not be wise to vote the opposition PNP into government to handle the country's economic affairs. He made the comment at a political rally in Clarendon, North Central on October 15.
Don't give up certainty for uncertainty.
Meanwhile, the opposition PNP has hit back at Prime Minister Andrew Holness' assertion that Jamaica's cost of living would double under a PNP administration. PNP spokesman on finance Julian Robinson says the claim by the Prime Minister is baseless. He says Mr. Holness has resorted to speculative forecasting, relying on imagination and superstition instead of effective leadership.
It is imperative that the Prime Minister grounds himself in reality, recognize the ongoing hardships being faced by Jamaicans, rather than indulging in unfounded predictions. When the PNP took office in 2011, we inherited an inflation rate of 7.56% from the JLP. By the end of our term in February 2016, we had reduced it to 3.68%, significantly alleviating the cost of living for Jamaicans while maintaining fiscal responsibility. This record underscores the People's National Party's ability to manage inflation and enhance living conditions. We reiterate our call for the current administration to do much more to alleviate the cost of living crisis being faced by vulnerable Jamaicans. Considering that Jamaica has exceeded its tax revenue projections by over 100 billion in each of the last 2 fiscal years, there is ample room for the government to do more to support the Jamaican consumer. The PNP urges the Prime Minister to refocus his efforts on his responsibilities to create an economy where all Jamaicans can afford to put food on their table.
And Jamaica's economy grew by 2.3% during the second quarter of the current calendar year when compared to the corresponding period in 2022. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, said Wednesday that the growth was reflected in the services and goods-producing industries, which grew by 2.1% and 2.6% respectively. Head of Statin, Carol Coy, says the economy's performance demonstrates continued recovery. And ratings agency Moody's Investors Services this week upgraded Jamaica's long-term issuer and senior unsecured ratings from B2 to B1 and revised its outlook from stable to positive. Moody's said the decision to upgrade the rating reflected its analysis that Jamaica, faced with various external shocks, maintained a steadfast commitment to sustainable fiscal policy anchored on the country's medium-term debt target. In other news now, 4 persons were killed in a horrific crash that involved 3 motorcycles and a truck along the Whithorn Main Road in Westmoreland on Monday. 3 died on the spot and the 4th person hours later at hospital. The deceased have been identified as 17-year-old O'Shane Solomon, 18-year-old Jermaine Scott, 24-year-old Riley McLeod, and a man identified only as Sanjay. They were all from Westmoreland. The police report that about 6 p.m. on Monday, 3 motorcyclists, one with a pillion aboard, were traveling along the roadway in Waterworks when they crashed into a motor truck traveling in the opposite direction. The police say early indications are that the riders failed to keep to the left side of the road, crashing into the truck, which caused their bikes to burst into flames on impact. The police say experts are conducting chemical tests on over 320 devices suspected to be explosives that were discovered at a premises on Darling Street in Kingston on Monday. The Jamaica Constabulary Force says the operation was based on high-quality intelligence obtained through the diligent use of various technologies and other methodologies. The force says the experts are to ascertain the exact nature of the substances found. It says given the sensitive nature of the find, certain specifics cannot be shared at this time. The police force says the discovery of more than 320 devices is a testament to the robust intelligence gathering capacity of Jamaica's law enforcement agencies and underscores their unyielding commitment to ensuring the safety of Jamaicans. The Clarendon police have upgraded to murder the charge against a Clarendon man who was arrested in relation to the death of his Canadian wife in Portland Cottage in May. 28-year-old fisherman Rory Palmer was initially charged with assault occasioning grievous bodily harm. However, the police announced on Wednesday that the charge was upgraded to murder following extensive investigation and consultation with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Crime Office. The Lioneltown police say Mr. Palmer and his spouse, Jada Whitehead of Mars, Toronto, Canada, had a dispute that got physical. Mr. Palmer reportedly threw a fan at her, hitting her in the face, after which he slammed her head into a wall several times. Sometime later, she was found unresponsive. Children's advocate Diane Gordon-Harrison has cautioned against any legislative move to impose a mandatory minimum sentence of 20 years for children convicted of capital murder. Capital murder refers to those cases in which the death penalty is under consideration. Now, according to Mrs. Gordon-Harrison, a mandatory minimum that is absolute is dangerous as there are borderline cases. On Tuesday, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck said he was in support of a proposal for a mandatory minimum sentence of 20 years for children between the ages of 15 and 17 years old who are convicted of capital murder.
We have to be bold and make it firm that anyone, especially youngsters who understand what they're doing, and I believe from your age 15 going up, you clearly must understand what you're doing and the consequence of what may happen if you're apprehended and you get convicted in a court of law. So quite frankly, I would urge us to agree that this section applies only to capital murder, and we agree with the 20 years, not less than 20 years, because this bill, I'm urging Minister Williams, should send that signal, especially to parents, especially the parents who have children under their charge, to control their young people. Because if they don't, they may well be visiting these children for the next 20 years, in jail.
The 35 Haitians who landed in Long Bay, Portland on October 15 were sent back home despite concerns by an international human rights attorney that Jamaica was breaking international law. The decision to repatriate the 27 adult males, 3 adult females and 5 children was made after it was reportedly discovered that 2 members were among those sent back to Haiti on September 10. Police sources say several of the Haitians tried to flee the landed location to avoid being held by the authorities. However, quick action by the police with support from residents resulted in their apprehension. Meanwhile, human rights lawyer Malene Alain has criticized the decision to return the group, arguing that it was a breach of international law. Ms. Alain said she desperately tried to speak to the Haitians about their rights and the chance for them to apply for asylum, but she was ignored, she said, by the authorities. The government has rejected that they have breached international law. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notification and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson, and before we go, let's hear from students of the University of Technology Jamaica and the University of the West Indies Mona on their wireless heart monitoring invention.
Cardiovascular disease is one of the top 5 leading causes of death in Jamaica, causing approximately 6,500 deaths each year and contributing to over 18 million deaths worldwide. In fact, one of our team members, Donovan Houghton, was diagnosed with athlete's heart, but unfortunately, he cannot afford to do his regular ECG heart monitoring tests that he so desperately needs to stay alive. This brings us to Cardiopulse Connect. It is a versatile real-time cardiovascular monitoring system, which will include AI analysis, assistive technology for persons with disabilities, as well as emergency response in the case of an extreme case. Why our product? Put simply, we are a cut above the rest. Not only do we have accurate data acquisition and support for multiple users in each household, but we are also affordable and take advantage of AI analysis, ensuring the most accurate results every time. Also, as previously mentioned, in the case of an emergency, help is already on the way.
I want to see this being fulfilled because I can benefit from a first-hand experience in that I have a heart condition. So I want to see this being brought forward, and which is one of the reasons why I really want to see this project even reaching the global stage, where we can say that this would be an innovation by Jamaica that will change the entire prospect of the world and allow persons, not just in Jamaica, to use this technology that will just be better for their health. And I believe the technology is already out there that can make this happen if we use the materials that can make the device in a more concise way, right? What we are putting to the table now is better algorithm and accuracy to the market. And so I think Jamaica is able now to use the developing 4G network that Huawei has brought to Jamaica to improve on what we're doing, and believe that this can put Jamaica in the limelight again on a global scale.